Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to this special, mega extended session, episode 44. I am Professor Wolfizzle. Today, we are not just learning a language, we are analyzing a global phenomenon. We are going to trace the 1,500-year history of English, from its humble beginnings as a Germanic dialect to its current status as the world's most powerful lingua franca. To understand the present, we must go back to the 5th century. Britain was not always English. It was Celtic. But when the Roman Empire collapsed, Germanic tribes, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes, crossed the North Sea. They brought with them Old English. If you heard it today, you wouldn't recognize it. It was a guttural, harsh language. But it gave us our most basic, emotional words: earth, house, food, love. These are the bones of our language. But then came the waves of invaders. First, the Vikings in the 8th century. They didn't just bring war, they brought grammar. They simplified English. They gave us they, them, and their. But the real earthquake happened in 1066. The Norman Conquest. William the Conqueror brought the French language to the British throne. For 300 years, there was a linguistic apartheid. The poor spoke English, the rich spoke French. This created the double vocabulary of English, which makes it so rich today. We have the low Germanic word sheep for the animal, but the high French word mutton for the meat on the table. We have start, Germanic, and commence, French. This complexity and hybridity allowed English to become a language of both the street and the palace. By the 16th century, during the time of William Shakespeare, English began to stabilize. But then, the engine of expansion started. The British didn't just want to trade, they wanted to colonize. This is where the story becomes darker. From the 17th to the 19th century, the British Empire became the largest empire in human history. English was exported as the language of hegemony. In India, Africa, and the Caribbean, English was forced upon the local populations. It wasn't just a way to talk, it was a way to rule. Through the East India Company, English became the language of the law, the military, and administration. A key moment was Macaulay's Minute in 1835, where the British explicitly decided to use English education to create an elite class of subjects who would think like the British. This was the birth of linguistic imperialism. In North America and Australia, the spread of English was even more aggressive. Through residential schools, indigenous children were prohibited from speaking their mother tongues. This led to linguistic decimation, the death of hundreds of ancient languages. This is the painful legacy of English. It grew not because it was better, but because it was backed by the most powerful navy and the most aggressive colonial policies in the world. However, the 20th century brought a new kind of power. Soft power. Even as the British Empire collapsed after World War II, English didn't disappear. It found a new home in the United States. Through Hollywood movies, jazz, rock and roll, and eventually the internet, English became the language of modern aspirations. It wasn't spread by soldiers anymore, it was spread by screens. Silicon Valley ensured that English became the source code of the digital age. Today, more than 50% of the internet is in English. It is the language of aviation, science, and diplomacy. If you want to be a pilot, a doctor, or a diplomat in 2026, English is your infrastructure. But here is the most exciting part for you as a learner: English is no longer owned by England or America. It has been decolonized. Today, there are more non-native speakers than native speakers. This has led to the rise of world Englishes. People in Nigeria, India, and Singapore have taken the language and mutated it. They have added their own rhythms and idioms. We are moving into a pluricentric world where your accent and your local version of English are just as valid as the standard version. So, why do you learn English? You are not just learning words. You are navigating a 1,500-year-old trajectory of power, tragedy, and triumph. You are gaining accessibility to a global brain. English is the bridge that allows a person in Brazil to talk to a person in Japan about the future of the planet. As you master this language, remember its history. Use it with cultural sensitivity. Don't let it replace your own heritage, let it be a tool to share your heritage with the world. You are a global citizen now, and this language is your passport. Thank you for your incredible intellectual curiosity and for staying with me through this long journey. I am Professor Wolfizzle. Stay global, stay curious, and I look forward to our next conversation in episode 45. Goodbye for now.